Hello.
Word up, James Rajewski.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Dude, I've never known your last name. Am I getting that right?
You were pretty close. That's pretty
Okay.
how most everyone says it, but it's Rajewski,
Okay.
generally Americanized version. If we were in Poland, it would be Rajewski, but that's not how anybody says it.
Ah,
So, yeah, pretend there's no W. Rajewski.
Rajewski.
Yeah,
I like
there
that. That sounds awesome.
you go. Sounds cooler.
What you into, brother? We don't need I mean, you're welcome to leave your camera on, but we don't
Yeah,
need any camera.
yeah, no, I
It might
realize
help
that.
out the
Yeah, that's easier.
and welcome to Straight to the Point, completely off topic, brother.
Yeah, brother. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on it, really, because these things don't go together so easy. And we've already tried.
Right.
I get a new appreciation for just the actual amount of that must go into any production. You know what I mean? That is successful, and they have like a weekly show, something like Saturday Night Live. Good
Right.
fucking lord! Could only
Right. Can you
imagine.
imagine? I mean, even just like Joe Rogan or something, but like Saturday Night Live,
Mhm.
that's next level. Yeah.
At any rate, uh, we should learn something every day. You know what I just learned today?
What'd you learn?
That the shape of my brain has more to do with my cognitive ability than the actual numbers of synapses.
Really? The shape?
That's what they're saying, man. The shape of your
Wow.
brain. So molds your kids' heads, like literally, I guess.
Wow.
But you and I are blessed because we both have these beautiful bald heads.
We do have these beautiful bald heads. Must be a Michigan thing. We
You
are
think it's
blessed.
because we were formed up there, up here, I guess?
I mean, I don't know, but either way, we're still looking good with these shiny bald heads.
That's what we keep telling ourselves.
Yeah, right.
No, you do. You look like $1,000,000. I haven't seen you in a long time. You've
Yeah,
pierced in
so,
Michigan. You,
yeah.
I've always known you as James the Piercer. I never knew your last name. So
Yeah, but I mean,
Rajewski. Hmm.
honestly, it's hard to pronounce, and I kept it out of the public, not too consciously, but
Hmm.
it just people slaughtered the name so much, and it was too hard to spell and pronounce, so just James was easier, you know. And being traveled coast to coast, piercing and body modification, so people
When did that start?
walk that. Well, I've been piercing professionally since '96, so a long time ago, 27 years plus. Um, and yeah, and then within the first 4 or 5 years, I started to expand horizons into, just intrigue into the body modification realm, going up above and beyond a little bit than basic piercing. And
Like scarification and these things?
yeah, scarification,
Amputation, cutting limbs off.
call for it, but tongue splitting, ear pointing, implants,
What's the
suspension.
crazier ones you've heard of? I heard of a guy that wanted, and I don't know any truth to all these things too, but that's not what this show's about. So this guy wanted to get shot with a 45 and
Oh,
his
I heard
body
that.
mod. You've heard that.
Yeah, that's a thing. I have had people contact me to try to amputate limbs, fingers, and toes and things like that, which that was out of my realm. I chose against that.
Uh-huh. It seems
That's
like the legal
yeah. I
aspect
mean,
of that is huge.
that's gigantic, and they're just there are many levels to that, but that's the primary one. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and I'm not in a position to tell people what to do with their bodies, but I also don't have to be involved with something that I felt was like just a bit much. Like I had this mother of 4 children, married, everything's fine, and like bugging me, her and her husband like harassing my inbox for like a year, trying to pay me outrageous amounts of money to amputate her first finger. And I'm like, you're gonna need that, that's a pretty important digit.
Mhm.
And so, but they went through with it anyway. They told me all about it. They
Is it kind of sometimes when you talk to somebody about a tattoo and you guys get together like let's do this, and it never ends up happening. They get it done by another artist, and then
Yeah.
they'll bring it back almost to show it off. Was it like that or something?
Well, it's maybe something like that. They didn't have someone else do it. I don't know if they told me this because, like, as if I would have been proud, which I wasn't. But they did it themselves.
Oh,
They put down a bottle of Jack Daniels and took a cleaver, and he did
Uh-huh.
it, took her finger in their damn kitchen, and then had fabricated some story that already before they started drinking of what they were going to tell them in the emergency room, and just chopped her finger and had them sew it up, and did it anyway. So that was a pretty intense thing that I was
Oh my God.
glad to not be a
I
part of.
did you ask any did you probably didn't want to. You're just
No,
like,
I
oh
was just
fucking let's not even
that
talk.
was all I needed to hear. I was like, okay, well, happy healing, bye.
Happy healing. I want to know more. I want to know like how because if you do it with a cleaver, there's a good chance that that finger is going to be able to be sewn back on. So,
Well,
but they
that's what
didn't
they
give a
did. They
fuck, so they didn't
purposely,
bring it with them, right? What?
yeah, that must have been part of the story, I guess. Somehow they lost the finger, right? Because they would have totally been
Mm-hmm.
able to in short time like that. They absolutely would have been able to. So.
That'd be hilarious if they did just put it in like a box and then they just open up and be like, dude, I put it here. I swear.
Oh
Oh,
man, where'd you put the finger?
oh well, I guess just sew it up. Man, it's kind of hot. Why?
Right?
What was their fucking weird? What?
She just felt like like anybody that feels they need to be something are becoming it these days. With all the
Mm-hmm.
alteration of bodies and such, and genders and everything too. And she just felt like a part of her body, like that was an unneeded part of her body. Like she didn't somehow energetically flow with her well-being and state of peace, and needed to remove it. And
And you've had no contact since. I really want to do the follow up and see if just everything in her life has improved or.
I wonder. I mean, that's been about a good decade or something. They were from Michigan too, actually. But and then when I lived in LA, big community in San Francisco, a big it was actually a gay man community, and they had a fetish community, is what it was, and
Mhm.
their primary fetish was to have toes removed, and they offered me outrageous amounts of money to come to San Francisco and remove toes for people, which I didn't do either. But um,
This is distressing to me. It shouldn't be, I'm sure.
no, no, but
It
like,
doesn't affect my
I
life at
mean,
all. But that
I
there are people that are
and
like,
it was
I'm better. Does it ever get to the part where people, I guess they are, there's probably people out there seeking lobotomies, right? I just want to find somebody to do an amateur lobotomy on me.
right. Yeah, it's cheaper than Xanax. Yeah, I don't know. One time, yeah, I'm sure people are trying to do anything to themselves these days, but because that guy wanted to get shot, so I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More power to them. And I don't know, I'm kind of proud of this. I want to call them a crazy couple, but I'm
yeah.
kind of proud in their, even
Oh,
against better judgment and professional advice. These, not that I'm saying
yeah.
it's a good thing,
No,
but
but
still there's,
I get
but
that. I get that. I get what you're saying. I mean, there's something to be said about that due diligence they had. They're like, this is happening.
yeah,
Whether it's a bottle of Jack to do it or not, we're doing this. They followed
man.
through. No, you gotta always give respect for a follow through. So
And the I don't know, so as a piercer, I guess you're riding that fringe, right? You're right on the fence in between. Obviously, you've chosen not to do amputations, but you're
yeah,
being sought for them. So
yes, yeah,
you might know the fringe, I guess, better than many of us. Is body modification, is tattoos. That's pretty freaking normal nowadays.
yeah. It's so normal. You and I've been in this industry for decades now, so we've watched it evolve and change. You know what I mean, and grow like exponentially. And yeah, I mean, even body modification is becoming more commonplace. I just actually just as of a few weeks ago opened a private studio here in Massachusetts where I live now, and for
What's
body
the name?
modification, Temple Adorn. I
Okay.
literally just opened its social networking pages like last night and middle of building website, but I opened the doors at least. And I mean, I've only been in masks for so long, and I haven't done much for body mod work here. I've mostly been piercing, and um, I can't believe how many people are knocking on my door already, really ready, lined up. It's,
Has that been
people
your
just want
your
their tongue split now than they used to. You know what I mean? Things like that.
they want what? You say their tongue split?
Tongue splitting's just becoming oddly like acceptable, and not
Mm-hmm.
not to the level of a tongue piercing, but like I can't believe how many people say opposed it 5 years ago, 7 years ago,
Right.
are interested and intrigued with just that. I mean, that's anything I do is a pretty extreme level, and I was used to it being very underground for so long. So I've had to learn to evolve and keep up with the times too. Being in that fringe, it's not so fringe anymore, you know.
The mainstream of piercing.
Yep, yep, yep.
So how many covers have you been on then?
A
That's a
hand.
real question. You're taking that, huh?
Yeah,
You've been on them.
yeah. But I mean, like magazines, a few. You know, I've had a handful of
Mhm.
feature articles and all the good stuff. You know, been in.
Right.
You know,
Rolling Stone ain't knocked down your door yet, though.
not yet, not yet. I did make it in Teen Vogue magazine, which was pretty funny because I
Are
was.
you serious?
Yeah, yeah. I've been in a lot. When I lived in LA, I was the most sought after piercer in Los Angeles for years. So like every year they have the, like best shops and piercers and all this thing. And LA is a haven for everybody wants to
Mhm.
develop everything, and then everybody finds that person. And
Well, let's
I,
stop for a second. I got it because what you're saying actually is bigger than we're wanting to. Then we're letting it, because LA is huge for piercing. Am I wrong?
yes, it's
Okay.
well,
And
yeah,
then you were one of the most sought after or the most sought after
probably
piercer.
the most. Yeah, I mean, I won every year from the first year I lived there. I won every year, every like LA's hot list, Yelp review, everything like that. Everything
Mm-hmm.
that had voting for the best piercer in Los Angeles, I won it every year I lived there. Yeah. So then my
Beautiful.
clientele followed suit. So I started to become the celebrity go-to guy. So I've pierced quite a handful of celebrities and stuff and became friends with a handful and stuff.
What's that like? I mean, that's
That-
got to be what most people, myself, even sometimes, not that I have so many people I would mark out over, but fucking like Jon Stewart. Man, that
right.
guy's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
right. There's a handful. I didn't get to meet some of my faves, because not necessarily for the
mhm.
interview thing, but yeah, no, it was
Who'd you
it was
get to meet?
quite a few people. I mean, like,
Nobody you
uh,
want to, I guess actually
well,
private
yeah, I
confidentiality
mean,
is a big part
respectfully,
of
there's
your job.
some that are confidential because I
Hmm.
definitely pierced a lot of confidential parts on people that I can't let be known because of who they are.
Ryan
Uh,
Gosling's got his gooch done, doesn't he?
no, but like I was interviewed for like if you look up Penis Gate, um, it's
Uh-huh.
a it's a whole concept of when Lenny Kravitz let it be known that his Prince Albert was pierced. I didn't even pierce it. I was his go-to guy. He referred people to me, like
Okay.
Diana Ross's son, right? Like he came to me and he said Lenny Kravitz spoke highly of me and stuff. And I had never pierced him, but I was the one interviewed regarding his penis piercing. So there's a big article, and if you do like a hashtag penis gate or anything like that, my name comes along with it, and Lenny Kravitz, which is pretty funny.
Penis
Um,
gate, because there was some kind of scandal around this too.
yeah, I guess there was. Yeah, it was a thing. I kind of missed it. I wasn't, I don't really watch that much
What
and pay that much
he got
attention.
kicked out of the church?
Something. I mean, it was, anytime
You're like, oh,
someone
you
of that
can't play
caliber,
rock and roll music anymore. We heard you have your penis pierced.
right? Unacceptable. You are not top 40 anymore.
That's
Um,
awesome. You got to meet him though.
No, no, I didn't
Oh,
even get to
damn
meet
it.
him. I only communicated with him online and stuff like that, and that was it. But like Miley Cyrus was a prominent person. The whole Cyrus family actually were huge regulars of mine. Like I pierced Billy Ray, even like one day almost the whole family came in. I pierced even the sisters no one knows that didn't make it popular. Noah, the
Uh-huh.
young, I gave her every piercing she's ever had, even her first piercings. Was interesting because like she was probably 13 or 14 when I first pierced her, and then by the time she was 19, I'm still piercing her. We're buddies. I still have her cell. She texts me every now and then since I moved here, wishing I'd come back to pierce her and stuff. And then,
Uh-huh.
but then it was awkward because 19, she come in and wanted her nipples pierced, and I felt like a creepy uncle. And I was like, oh no, I've known you. She's still 13 to me, so it was like
Right.
awkward. Like you're putting me in the spot, girl.
Well, I bet though, once you get the gloves on and everything, it kind of comes antiseptic. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
then it was the idea, but once we were in motion,
Mm-hmm.
everything was fine. But
Yep.
exactly, it becomes very, very neutral.
I think even as a tattoo artist, you kind of feel that because like some dude will come in, you have no fucking problem because it's your job, but
Exactly.
there's this weird awkwardness of like where he knows you're gonna touch him, and that's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'll pull a chair up and put an armrest out, right, and they'll like move the chair about 3 inches away from me, and then sit down on it, and you're like, okay, I need you to stand up. I move the chair back, sit back down. Yeah, no, we're getting close, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be personal, buddy. Yeah,
It's
get
gonna
comfy.
be personal. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. You're good.
Well,
We're gonna know each other's musks and um,
this
but
is
yeah,
some kind of dream for a lot of people. What was it like living it? I mean,
it was pretty awesome. You know what I mean? LA's a very toxic place, of course. I mean, it is a haven for all this terrible and vanity to its finest and things like that. So I mean, it gets
is
you a
that
little bit.
what makes us change and leave to Massachusetts then?
Because I got just overwhelmed with that lifestyle, and then there's so much toxic life, and you don't realize it changed you. LA is like there's a thing I've noticed. My ex that's how I ended up in Massachusetts. A girl I started dating there is from Massachusetts, and when we left, we came back here, and then broke up. But I like it here. But you get caught up the party, the chaos, the stardom, because like I mean I got to go hang out like with Danny Carey, the drummer of Tool, right? Like one of my
Okay,
favorite drummers, favorite bands. I got to go hang
amazing
out after hours
drummer.
in his private studio, where in his recording studio where they recorded the album Enema and stuff. I mean, I got to hang out there after a bar club. You know what I mean? Like so
Wow.
it's fun, but like it gets dangerous, like just
How so?
doing drugs and alcohol and stuff. You know what I mean? Because the
Okay.
party got stopped there and stuff. So like, and I've had my bouts
Would
like.
you not be accepted if you were to turn down the drug and alcohol?
You would be, but you would definitely not be in as many circles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
People would feel like a judgment of their own behaviors and then
well, that's and no one wants
ostracize
that. And that's why misery loves company. You know what I mean? You want people at your own frequency.
I do.
Um, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah. That's why
yeah,
everybody wants you to get drunk and you're just like, but you all look so dumb. You're acting so foolish.
right,
Now,
right.
if you're
I don't
drunk with them, then they're like, this is the best time of my fucking life. This
ever
is how it
every
should be
time,
always. Yeah.
always.
So has moving to Massachusetts come with more sober living too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I cleaned myself up there, and I just knew it was time. And I mean, I don't drink at all anymore, and I don't do anything. You know, uh, nothing really. But no, I mean, I've always been in tune with like nature and positive living as best I can.
Mhm.
And I lost sight of some of those things being influenced from the Los Angeles scene, and so I'm getting back into myself and flourishing in other areas now here.
Do you think that's a what is it? You think that's just LA or Hollywood or that
Well,
there is a lot of that for every industry too?
there is in every industry, and I think any major city is going to be a major hub for that. But LA is just like the heart of it. You know what I mean? It is the
Mhm.
throbbing main nerve of all of that. So, it's
One
that's
great big festering neon distraction.
exactly well said. Should
Well, it's Maynard,
Yeah,
right?
no, as
That's
I said,
Tool.
well said. That's
Okay,
considering we just talked about Tool, I was like, oh, nice, good job, love that, good
dude.
drop.
But so you met Tool's drummer
Oh,
in
I got to hang out
LA,
with them
and
and
he
stuff.
lives in LA,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yep.
And they
But I was
write this
live
song
outside of LA, yeah, but
about Arizona Bay in the idea that LA would be wiped clean. So
right,
how does he feel? I mean, did he seem to have Maynard's sentiments or that song's sentiments as well for this
not as much. I mean, even Maynard himself lives in Arizona. Thinking about
well,
it,
right.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he lived in Texas, but I
No, he lives
exactly
in
that.
Jerome, Arizona. Actually, I've been to his private store for his solo group, Christopher. But
Uh-huh.
he lives outside of there with his vineyard. He has a vineyard, Caduceus Wines. Um, and
Did you get to meet Maynard as well?
no, I didn't actually. There was potential for it, but no, I met a lot of cool people. Like Glenn Danzig was on every corner. I saw that guy every other week. He was just always at whatever local bar and stuff. Like,
Well,
like
Stelios would fucking love that, man.
yeah, right. And then Ron Jeremy was everywhere. He was a miserable pig.
Yeah, I've heard as such. People really idolize him, and then anybody that's been kind of around him, I generally hear they're like, nah.
Oh, he's gross. Yeah, he just be dirty, like actual stains, dirty gray sweatpants with like a sloppy white wife beater shirt on at just like at the Rainbow Room hanging out, just giving zero fucks.
Now, what is? I should probably know what the Rainbow Room is, but
That's
is
the
that
big
some?
super rocker club, like you
Okay.
got to hang out there and stuff like that. I actually won the best costume contest at that place one year for Halloween,
What'd you
which was
dress
pretty
as?
flattering. I was like this crazy devil thing, of course, seemed appropriate at the time, with like just giant horns and all this nuts. And my ex at the time also was a special effects makeup artist, so
Oh,
I
that
had
didn't hurt.
that kind of helped. Yeah.
So she
Um,
felt more proud about your
oh, I
your
was
win
wearing
maybe
her
than
art.
you.
Yeah, so we both
Yeah.
won. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was very
Right.
cool.
She still talks about it. I
Yeah.
won the. Well, I wasn't wearing that,
But she won it technically, yeah.
but well, who keeps the trophy in the breakup then?
she
Have you figured that one out?
they all how that goes. The girls always get
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, well, also the artist, right? I mean, if it was a tattoo or a
She was the
piercing,
artist. I mean, that was appropriate. She earned it.
good on her. We're
Yeah,
proud
yeah.
of you, girl. And you, so now Massachusetts, though, what's
Yeah.
the vibe change there? It's
Huge vibe
Mhm.
change.
What part of Mass are you in?
I'm just about an hour outside of Boston, 45 minutes or
Okay.
so. I worked in Cambridge, Boston there, right in Harvard Square when I first moved here. It was like, it was piercing like Harvard and MIT kids, which was quite a change because you figure these are scholastic, old money kids
Uh-huh.
that are definitely going to, be a politician or something to that effect someday. And so my demographic changed drastically.
Did the piercings also change, like what people were getting then?
Yeah, my
Okay.
job got really boring for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
you get to know these people still though? Isn't it a nice little weird contrast from people in LA to I don't know, future yacht club owners?
Yes, it was so weird. I mean, and I've been all over. I've pierced in almost every single state. I mean, I've lived in
Mhm.
11 states, but like, and I have students in like 40 something of them.
Good Lord.
But like this was the extremity of the change because I'd been in LA so long, so acclimated to that when I moved here, I mean, you can't. I mean, this is as 180 as you can get from Los Angeles to people here, completely conservative and very different. There, it's everybody's free and vanity and your looks and everything else are some of the most important things. People here, it's like um, function and humbleness and our priorities. Vanity is not on the agenda at all, especially with people with piercings. So I had, very eccentric, crazy, wild stuff I was doing in Los Angeles. And here it was like having totally different chats with people that are like, like little science nerds from MIT and stuff like that, which is great though, because I'm quite
Yeah,
a
you're
nerd
not a nerd yourself.
myself. So it was actually not, yeah.
I'm catching. Hold up for a second, if you will. I think I've got some kind of audio going on here.
Okay.
Candy, do you hear anything? Are you on speaker or are you on a handheld? We both sound great. Okay, never mind. Because
Okay.
sometimes my ear gets a little canny, but I want us like literal tin can. But I wanted to make sure that that wasn't coming off on the recording.
Okay. We're clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry for messing up any flow there. What
No,
were you
none.
telling me about? Do I recall you?
Oh, Massachusetts people, just
Mm,
adapting. Uh, like I said, I was piercing, very eccentric, creative, unique stuff in LA,
yeah,
and
I kind of
I mean,
want to keep talking about LA, I guess. Is that the same? But you feel great in Massachusetts.
I do. It took
But
me a
it
minute
seems
though.
so
It was hard.
interesting in LA. Mhm.
Oh, it was
Oh,
so intriguing. LA was magic and intriguing, and I definitely missed parts of it and stuff. But the pros don't outweigh the cons for me. You know
mhm.
what I mean? To move back or anything, because I mean, I still have people today. It's been about 3 years now, and I still have people contact me semi regularly to see when I'm coming back. Which I'll go visit for a week or two and do some guest spots or something. But I haven't gone back at all yet, actually, and I'm gonna go this summer. I think it's time. But yeah, adapting was tough
Mhm.
though. Like I miss a lot of it, but it's also like you, I was a little younger and just a different mentality. I've evolved
How
myself quite a bit.
how old are you, James?
I'm 44.
Okay. That's pretty sure
Uh,
you're around my age. You're a bit
yeah, yeah,
younger.
yeah.
But yeah, and that's what now you're looking towards the future. You got to be
Hmm.
a little bit.
I've lived
Uh,
a phenomenal life. I've toured. I've done crazy things. I've been on, I lived in LA. We've heard that. I've been on, I toured the country doing suspension performance work, teaching courses at conventions, working conventions on that circuit, teaching. I mean, I've taught out of, I have students in probably like 49 states, I think, at this point. And like,
oh wow.
so, and I've been around, I've done the damn thing. I've done huge epic shows. I mean, I've been on America's Got Talent. They paid me to go on there and do suspension work back in like
They paid you.
2014. Yeah, their whole thing's a big sham too. None of that reality TV is really that real. A lot of it's
Oh, let's
scripted.
dish on it.
Yeah, yeah. So for sure, guys, I did a lot of Hollywood stuff. I've been in some films and
Hmm.
Eric Andre show. I did suspension on a comedy suspension on the Eric Andre show, which was pretty funny.
Oh my God.
Swinging around
I
from hooks
gotta,
with. Yeah, you can find it. You can find it. I'm swinging around from hooks with a saxophone, acting like I'm playing it, and then like another part I'm shoveling Chips Ahoy cookies in my mouth. They just gave me random shit to do because the show's
because
so
you're just hanging there
fun.
in
Yeah.
the rafters
Yep.
while
Exactly.
they're filming
Mhm.
and they don't know how to make a show, so they just make a show.
Yeah, they
Genius.
just put weird shit together. Yeah, like they wanted me
What
to look
was that
as
like?
normal.
Hmm.
They wanted me to look normal just to make it more ridiculous that I'm hanging from hooks. So they spent 7 hours in makeup to cover all of my because my shirt's off, so waist up. My
Mm,
back's all done, my whole body's
yeah.
tattooed. 7 hours of makeup to cover my tattoos and remove all my piercings. That was weird to see me like that. By the way, that's
Uh-huh.
weird to see myself completely tattooless because they did a great job. Like
Uh-huh.
nothing. My whole head tattoo. These iconic
Yeah.
symbols on my body were all gone.
What
That's
what did it make you did it give you any did you miss your tattooed self, or did it
I
make you
mean,
kind of long for your old body?
no, I didn't miss the clean look. I'll tell you that. I didn't hate seeing myself like that. I just observed it as interesting. I was like, well,
Mm.
that's how I would look if I didn't do this, huh?
Yeah. If I was an accountant, pop it up, pop, this is what I do. Oh, did I miss you? Are you there? Shit. Poop, poop, poop. Candy, I can't hear if you can. Sometimes my phone does it. Start video mute. Sometimes we might have to reset.
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. I'm sorry. Give me a pause
Okay.
here.
Okay.
One. All right, there we go. That's just so Candy can find it in editing.
Okay.
So you're filming Eric Andre. Your tattoos are covered up. You look
Yeah.
like your normal, and they're. I mean, what is that like? Isn't that like watching the show itself feels like it's dangerous.
It's ridiculous. The show is completely obnoxious. Yeah. He was
Okay.
interviewing Instagram's hottest models, and I was swinging from hooks in the background.
What was he asking these models?
Doing his thing. Like, so I was to be his boss while hanging from hooks playing a saxophone while he's interviewing Instagram's hottest girls. So it was quite the show.
Sorry for the silence. I keep having technical difficulties. I can only imagine. But let's tell me of, if you don't mind, how then that compares to being on America's. You said it was like
America's Got Talent was very
yeah.
scripted. They just saw my YouTube work and thought I was quite an epic thing and wanted to have it on there. Like some of the crazy people you see on that show that you're like, there's no way, like a lot of these people there wasn't a way. They didn't actually try out. You know what I mean? They just found them online somewhere because they do some weird sideshow act or have some crazy talent, and then they'll pay them to be on there and act like they tried out. I didn't try out. I've never even watched the show. and they gave me, a nice chunk of money, flew me and my girlfriend at the time. Because my girlfriend at the time, we did shows together, so that was a very marketable thing. And she was a really
how far did you make it? Did they decide that you didn't have talent then?
Yeah, no, it was just the one episode. It was kind of planned to be that anyway. So, but it was like a Howard Stern, Howard Mandel, Heidi Klum, and I forget her name, Scary Spice girl. But they were the judges.
The Scary Spice. She used to date Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she was dating him when he got his dick sucked by a trans.
Probably, yeah. That would make sense. She seemed bitter.
I could be wrong. She seemed bitter. What what was your interactions with them? I mean, you're 60 feet away at most most,
Yeah,
you
I
don't
didn't
usually
actually
even
talk to him
talk,
in
right?
person. Howard Stern was hitting on my girlfriend. They thought Heidi Klum was a fan, actually, which was crazy. She's the one I thought would be most turned off, but she wasn't. Scary Spice was actually the most turned off, which is I found irony because she was the pierced girl from the Spice
Yes.
Girls, and then she was the one that was the most turned off by it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Nick Cannon, the dude, the guy, the MC guy that's on the stage talking to everybody, he was pretty hilarious. Like when I was done with the show, he walked up, handed me a band-aid. I got like 10 holes in my body. He's be a tiny little band-aid to be funny. Like, here, you might need this, buddy. It's funny. But yeah, that was an interesting experience though, to say the least. Yeah, it was fun. It was just something I did. I have a lot of those things. Like I worked with Rob Zombie at the All American Nightmare Tour and did sideshow, freak show, skewering and stuff like that at his huge All American
Just
Nightmare
on stage while he's playing, or as
on a
some other
side
kind of.
stage of my own actually while he was playing, and then also during the event because it's a huge Halloween thing. So we were out in the crowd interacting with people, and then we were on stage at different points. It was an entire big, huge production. I mean, it's gigantic. It takes up like a city block. It's the biggest, it's one of the scariest haunted house attractions and stuff. And then they have this almost more like a festival, like with bands playing all through the day. So it was all these top-notch, awesome bands, and Rob Zombie as the headliner. And we were on a side stage doing crazy shit while he was playing, like,
So
but an accent to him. You know what I mean? Basically,
yeah, yeah, you're not doing dialogue or anything or interacting in that at that time
No,
with the
no, just
audience.
just stabbing myself for people in front of them, doing crazy shit.
Yeah,
Um, but
breaking their minds.
yep.
There's a girl that and it still freaks me out, and it makes me do, I kind of feel underneath my chin there, and there's that hollow point right
hmm
behind your chin.
hmm
You must know people there pierce that spot
Oh,
up
I've done that.
through
I
their
did.
mouth.
I've done that many times. That's the lower mandible. Yeah, I have did that. I think I did that on America's Got Talent, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the things. Yeah, I'll take like a 14-inch skewer, like 8 gauge too, so fairly thick.
Mm-hmm.
um, that I taper them myself. So that way, what happens is as I pierce it through, it stretches open, but that stresses the tissue. So that way, when I remove it, because it's stressed by
It'll
stretching,
inflame and not
it'll
bleed.
it'll tighten right back up immediately. Like I've done skewers through my cheeks probably 60, 70 times, and I don't even have a visible scar from it, except
Is
the
that how
one
you got
black
those
dot
those
I accidentally
dimples?
tattooed. The dimples are real. um,
Okay.
yeah, I did pierce them, but I just had piercings in those. But when I stuck the skewer through, I made a new hole every time. That was different. So,
It
um,
seems how what's the pain involved with the lower mandible?
it's more frightening than painful. It's just very
Mm-hmm.
stressful. It's
I
very
think that's a large part. Like I've broken bone before. I chipped a tooth. There's sometimes when you do something that you're like, oh, that's gonna last forever,
yes,
and
I feel
there's
like
like a gut wrench punch. Like yeah, it's associated. You feel that every time, or do you get?
kind of like that might be long term damage. Yeah. But luckily, I know the anatomy wonderfully. So, because there's some major vessel and nerve clusters that run through there under your lower mandible that control your tongue and all sorts of major things right there. And you can feel it. Like if you were to stick your thumb underneath and reach your like finger into your under your tongue there and squeeze down,
Mm-hmm.
it's that soft lower palate, and you can feel like tendons and other things that matter that give you your function and motion. And I literally, what I do before I skewer, I reach in with my finger and thumb like that, and I shift the whole cluster over out of the way, and then I
Yeah.
shove it. So luckily, I've been able to manipulate my body a little bit to do that. But it's still frightening because you can feel it crunching through some layers, and you're like, I'm definitely putting a needle, giant thick needle through parts that probably shouldn't be doing that too. But it's all you'll find in the end.
Yeah. What? Oh man. What was your first? I mean, when did you start doing performance? I guess
Probably
with this, because that's not a
2005,
piercing that you
2006.
were ever going to walk around with. So you didn't do that. Like, what? I'd really like to have a big hoop going out of my mouth and make it
Oh yeah,
impossible to eat.
yeah. I don't want to close my mouth again. Fuck that.
No,
No,
that
no.
was definitely a performance piercing.
Yeah, yep,
And when was
absolutely.
that? 2000 and when?
That the time I did that was probably 2014 for that one. But I mean, I've been doing performance, piercing myself, suspension, mostly suspension. The other things are just accents to it. But since like 2005,
Didn't
I
you
think
do tug of war too? Am I wrong?
yeah, often. Yeah. I've done that
Okay.
many times. I mean,
Where,
I've
where you
suspended.
pierce your back up and then you have some, and you weren't, especially when I met you, you're a lot bigger now. You filled out, I guess.
Yeah.
But when I
I was
met
a
you, I
little
think you were
slim kid,
maybe
yeah.
150.
Yeah, I was about $150. Now I'm closer to about $190. Yeah, I hit the gym and stopped the bar. Is what happened.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in LA, you were still about $150, and this healthy
maybe
lifestyle is
maybe
kind of new.
maybe
Or?
160, 170 at most, but
Right.
probably 160ish. And then I started working out once I cleaned my act up in LA before I moved here the last 6 months. And then I've
Well, now
just
you look like you'd be a more formidable challenge for some of these guys I see in the
for
tug
the
of
tug of
war.
war. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I've
but you
never
used
lost
to
one.
beat big guys.
I did huge dudes, like 300-pound dudes, because that battle's not about strength; it's about pain tolerance, and that's why I could always win that one. So, now I had the big guy tugging me around, pulling me around like a freaking rag doll, but in the end, he'd be the one that tapped out. So,
What just because you could endure it longer, what do you find the strength to do that?
I mean, it's entirely in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, pain and pleasure are completely received in the same exact center of your brain, and I mean, I guess that's what got me into it is to have I was more intrigued in my youth with like people doing rites of passage, like old Okipa, Lakota, or
Mm-hmm.
Sundance rituals, doing the suspending from their chest, the Native American tribes, or like fire walking. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? All the different
Yeah.
cultures that did other obscure things, and that was always intriguing me. Watching them push the limits and boundaries of the human body, that intrigued me. I didn't need like attention or bragging rights for it. That came with it because of what I did, and then I turned it into shows, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it was to have that mental capacity and control. That's how I ended up piercing myself. I just started piercing myself when I was younger in the early 90s in northern Michigan, where no one was doing that, but I just did it because I wanted to know I could handle it, and I wanted to have that self-control to be stronger than my body, in my mind. And that's been the whole run. It's really the
It
whole
seems
the whole
like it would
career.
be a spiritual thing then too, of
Yeah,
sorts, because
definitely.
your spirit is kind of what you're counting on to get you through that, right?
That's
Or
what it is.
you're
It's
relying.
spirit more so than mind, actually. That's I will well said. And
So
that's
how
like
does
the
that
path
leave
I'm
you
on more now.
spiritually? I've never known you'd be the most religious guy, but I would say that
No,
you
but
probably
I've been a very spiritually in tune person, but I lost sight of it for a while in my career and just being caught up in the hubbub of every day and all the things I was doing. And that's what I'm getting
caught
back in.
up in all that sin at LA.
Exactly. And then, well, what I do, it turns you end up working at fetish clubs and doing things like that, doing shows and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm in the dirty underbelly of deviance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge demographic for doing that stuff. And so that's how I made money doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like doing a suspension, like I was in Grass Valley in California on top of a mountain, suspending from a tree at 39 degrees with nothing on but some like thin, like harem pant things. And it was gorgeous. Like I've been to
39
states like,
degrees.
yeah. And I felt nothing. I was flawless because I can overcome the pain. And once you finally surrender and stop fighting it, then you
Mm.
stop feeling it. And I mean, I've been in the air for hours, and I'll swing around like I'm like a monkey. You know what I mean? And
You
it's
reach states
phenomenal,
of nirvana then.
and entirely. And I've left my body. I had at a convention actually in Michigan way back. This is probably '06 or '07 maybe. Um, I suspended a lotus style, where your legs are crossed like you're meditating, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me up on the stage, and I just checked out. I left my body. I didn't even know I was
While
not
you were
there anymore.
suspending.
While I was there, my eyes are closed. I mean, there's pictures of me and everything, and they had to like bring me back. Like, James, time to get down now. You've been up for hours. I was like, what? No clue, no memory. I mean, to my knowledge, I was up for 20 minutes, but it had been
Did you
like
see
several hours.
yourself when you left your body at all?
I didn't in that. I had on some
Okay.
hallucinogens before, but but
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
as
I've
far
heard
as
of
that.
even airline or not airline pilots, but fighter pilots that hit in certain speeds and they have out of body experience became a very common thing with them where they would view themselves They could
Right,
see
I've
them
heard that.
flying the plane.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've actually
But
heard that before.
when you've had hallucinogenics with piercings or whatnot, you have also then kind of seen yourself.
In a manner, yeah, exactly. Yeah, within. I mean, I was able to observe myself from outside, like I was a bystander to my own body. You know what I mean?
Right. See, I never did any transcendental stuff, I guess, but it's curious, probably to everybody. To me, it's really curious because especially if you went to Spain or you went to China or Japan or something, India, in your transcendental meditation or whatever, maybe you
Right.
did, maybe you didn't, right? Sure, it seems so
Right.
real, whatever.
Right.
But if you see yourself doing, then I'm like, okay, now there must be something to it.
Oh,
That
there's
that
something.
I guess that's why I even differentiate the two. And not that I think I'm sure there's a study that's going to be like, you're an idiot, Kyle. Most of them do. My son shows them to me on Google's all the time. It's like, oh,
Right.
you're. But um, how does that become addictive?
Well, in a way, I mean, you get a sensation that takes you outside of yourself, and so I mean,
After
it's not
some time you
addictive.
haven't had that sensation, do you be like, well, I need to suspend again, or I
It's
need
not
to?
like I need a fix, you know what I mean? But like, it's almost more of a therapeutic thing to where like it's time to do that again, and I can reset my state of equilibrium in myself a little bit because it teaches you surrender, and that's a huge thing that none of us are good at. Is
Okay,
to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and that's really the strongest thing anyone can do is to surrender and allow vulnerability. You know, really, that takes more than anything, and that's one of the hardest things for people to do: self-control and allowance and acceptance. And when you're at the whim of your own sensation and pain only. You can't put your foot on the ground and make the pain go away. You're off the ground. You have to accept it. And if you fight it, people fight because I do a lot of first timers and stuff like that. And I have a good long talk. I'm their safe space during it. You know what I mean? I'm their
mm-hmm.
guru. And I have a talk on where their mental state should try to be, and we help them achieve that, even if it's through meditation or whatever else, the best we can. Now, not always do they succeed though, because not everyone can let go. And that's the only way that you're going to succeed at it is because if you fight the pain, you feel the pain fights back, and you're not going to win. So like some people are up for seconds and that's it, done. Get me down now. And so like there are people who've had to just grab their body and lift him so there's no tension on the hooks until we could take the hoist down.
Oh,
Um,
they were
yeah,
really
because
freaking out that
could
bad.
not handle it. Yeah, for sure. So once you stop the fight and accept it and surrender to it, it
I've
goes
seen a
away.
lot of suspensions. I have not seen anybody give up quickly.
No,
I
probably not. You see a lot of people that perform and do it. That's why, and first timers, when there's a crowd, it's easier because our egos are that strong. That's actually what
okay.
that, not surrender. That's ego. I have to do this because people are watching. So people can get
Shanghai.
alone.
I'm sorry. Shanghai Kate used not she wasn't a fan of watching suspensions, and I'd talk to her about it, and she felt that it was more a spiritual thing and shouldn't be shared like that. I never wanted to make a judgment on that because I think things are things, right?
Yeah,
And
I can
so
see all angles of that and justify all of them. So I respect that stance. That's actually kind of what I'm leaning towards more now. And if I do a performance, it's going to be more spiritually based instead of more like fetish like based, like a lot of my stuff is. So
okay,
that's to be
when it's
uh,
fetish, it's also probably more shock oriented then.
shock and show, and some people really get turned on by it. I mean, I did bloodletting on a stage at a fetish club in North Carolina, like just tapped some vessels on my girlfriend with some large gauge needles and let her bleed out a little bit. Like people were so turned on. I mean, there were people that probably had orgasms in the crowd. So there's that aspect too.
You seen some shit, man.
I've seen and done some shit, man. Yeah.
You've seen some shit that people wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't even have figured this, but more about like, okay, I guess someone did this, but I don't. You've seen people that get and possibly even have an orgasm in a crowd by watching somebody bleed,
Yeah.
and
Oh, absolutely.
I can only imagine so much else. It
Yeah.
just it seems mind boggling. I don't know. I shouldn't be mind boggled. I saw a video once where this dude gets punched in his scrotum. Uh,
Oh, I
and it's
loved
not a
it.
video I'd normally watch. You love it. You've seen it. You got it on your phone. Oh, I think Carl showed it to me. I could
Of
be
course you
wrong.
did.
This guy, yeah, is punched and he goes from flaccid to erect until shooting come in like seconds from
Yeah.
getting punched repeatedly, like uppercut.
Yeah. Shit that would put us on the ground crying in misery.
Dude, I
Right.
watch MMA religiously, right? And
Right.
these guys got 5 minutes for everyone like that. This guy, he should be an MMA fighter. I just
Right.
figured
Like,
it
dude, you could
out.
take a hit.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe even like it. Like maybe
Right.
he should start his own sport. You're like, no, when you
Right.
fight him,
Guys
just be
running
careful
around
of
with
punching
hard
his
ons,
nuts.
punching each other.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm loving it, man. I'm ready. Ref's like, you need five? No. Five,
No,
five.
turn
What
it
are you
up.
talking about? Hit me again. Kick me in the Jimmy.
Right. Kick me in the Jimmy.
So but these are people that you might have even, I mean, not that person, you said, but
those are scenes I was involved in and stuff. Like I didn't
yes.
even personally identify with a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get off on many of that stuff. You know what I mean? I am capable of doing that stuff though, and that's and my girlfriend at the time was more involved in the fetish scene a little bit too. So I mean, that was part of it also.
Mm-hmm.
And we did most things. We were quite a thing of a couple
A
going around.
duo.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, no, that wasn't my thing. But I've seen some shit. But it's funny where things go. Like now that I'm here in a calmer state, I'm back onto my more spiritual path, I guess, and tuning. I'm more in nature than anything these days, and work at an awesome studio.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. That sounds real exciting. Tell me about these freaks again.
yeah.
No,
Talk about the
no,
mushrooms.
I'm kidding. I don't mean
No,
to
but
shame
seriously
anybody
though,
or
but
get
that's
on their
that's the
kink.
entertaining shit. I know.
Well,
No one
I
cares,
do
but
mean to say of those people, like, would I be amazed? I know I would be because of my
yeah.
own. I used to pierce, and anybody that came in to get their penis pierced, I was like this straight laced kind of like reserved. You wouldn't have ever thought that they had a Prince Albert, you know?
Oh, that happens often. It's always the least likely characters. When I was in Cambridge, I had like professors from Harvard coming in getting their junk pierced. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I mean, not to tell their students when they come in. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But they do tell you then that they were professors at one point. They did
Oh
want
yeah,
that notoriety.
yeah. There was one guy who was a regular. He was a CEO of Disney in L.A. Came to me. He owned a home in Pennsylvania. Well, he had owned several homes, but he had this giant home. His primary residence was Pennsylvania, but he went to LA all the time because he's the CEO of Disney, right? And more so
We're not outing this guy on any accident. You need me to edit any of that out?
there's a lot of them. He's a CEO of one faction of it, so there's
I
a
got
lot
you.
of them. So no one anyone knows personally that you've heard of, probably. But he was a dirty, dirty man. He had more metal under below his belt than like I do on my whole head. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
huge gauge,
Zingo.
like just lined it up, loved it.
But
and
no, you
was
said dirty man. That's not what you like, something else then.
Oh, he's a filthy pervert. No, he would say
Okay.
horrible things to me too. Well, and like it's like, okay, it's time to pierce you, right? And then we would pull our pants down for that, right? He would just strip naked. Like I turned around to set up things to do a few things, and I turned back. He didn't even have socks on, head to toe, all clothes. I'm like, dude, did not have to do that. Like old guy, pudgy, like just like hairy, and like has a wife and like runs this Disney shit, right? And is saying filthy things to me, flirting with me. He's like, you want to touch it, and all these terrible, just dirtbag. Like, it was pretty.
So he didn't. I've only pierced a few penises in my days.
Yeah,
but every one of them said the same thing, except for one gay guy that came in. It was one of the best transactions I've ever had with a penis because it was just like, that sounds weird, but it was just professional in and out. And everybody makes it uncomfortable at some point with me or had, because they say something. Every guy has always said it's usually bigger.
Oh my God. I love that you said that. I was waiting for it. And
you hear it too?
Do you know how many thousands of penises I've pierced in my life? Every guy date.
Why? What the
only
fuck? Why do you want it? Like, you don't care? Do you care? Can you? I think I lost you again because I live in the country out here on a lake. Are you
Okay.
there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
But
hear
you heard it too. Then you hear it too, where they say the same thing. They say it's usually bigger.
Always. I've had people do like often guys because they're insecure. It's always straight guys, never the gay guys.
Okay.
And straight guys, due to their insecurity, a lot will have their girlfriend come into the room so they don't feel like gay having a man touch their penis,
Yeah.
because they're
Yep.
insecure with sexuality or whatever the reasons are. And they'll be like, "Oh, it's usually bigger than this." Tell them, honey, it is. And she'll be like,
Oh my God. This is terrible. And I gotta sit next to my fucking Wi-Fi or something. Oh yeah. Technical difficulties.
"Oh,
What?
that's
I think I hear you.
I hear you."
Okay. I don't know if I got. So when the girl comes in, I'm still laughing because these are also experiences I've had. I have a girl that comes in with her boyfriend one time though, and they both explain it very professional. He was a CEO of a supermarket, right?
Oh, okay.
And they come in and they want to do this. They even explain they're like, just sighting, kind of, and we're doing it together. She's thinking she might get hers done. When he got it pierced, he yelled swear words, right? Which isn't uncommon.
Not
and
at
probably
all.
can help.
Yeah.
But every one of these swear words were, what was it? Slut, fucking cunt, whore. I think that's what he said.
Not like motherfucker, but like
No, like all could be
whore.
directed at his wife. Like, this was a bad idea.
Right, exactly. You wanted this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like when a straight guy, and it always was straight guys that I pierced too, that would always tell me it was bigger. They make it so uncomfortable. Like, I'm just doing a thing. Like, it's my job, gloves on, whole sterile setup, normal procedure. All you got to do is pull your trowel out, lay back, and we're going to get this done. And then you got to fucking have like a little show and present. Like, now it's like, oh man, you just made me like human. And if anybody's going to get their penis pierced, just heads up, we laugh at you about that. So don't do it. Like, I know that you're going to want to do it, and you'll be like, oh, this is the moment when I heard Kyle and James were saying that I would feel one certain way, and I would want to break that somehow by explaining that normally my penis is bigger.
Right.
This is not the time. He's going to laugh at me. I like the same thing. Here's how I know it of some sorts. I used to want to be a bodybuilder. If you see bodybuilders, they are fucking huge. Their bodies are fucking stacked, and then they have no penis.
Yeah, they're hung like a light switch, dude. Yeah, no.
Now it's not that they're not hung. Okay, some of these guys, I'm sure, are just they're doing good in the bedroom, right? Yeah, but they're so jacked on testosterone at the moment,
right? Everything's
and all their endorphins.
They have no nuts anymore.
Yeah. So it's like your worst shrinkage day.
Yeah.
But I'm already aware as a piercer. I'm already aware. No need to let me know.
Yeah.
Is it cold in here? Can you heat it up in here? What do you want? I do know one dude did, and I always question, I question him still. He said, Kyle, you got to get it hard before you even line it up. It's not going to be straight. I was I think you're not going to be straight if you get it hard before you line it up, buddy. That's, I'm not, I really thought about it for a couple of minutes, and I said, I don't think I care if it's straight. I think at the moment that you're showing your penis piercing off, job done. You already won that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got it.
No one's looking at it like, I don't know. Is it crooked?
No one's analyzing the marks, bro. Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I feel like that could have been a millimeter to the left.
yeah.
No one cares. No one cares. That's for function and for you to whip out as a bar trick or to get a girl to come on with you or whatever your reason is.
Yeah,
No one.
but you haven't ever had need then to tell a guy to go fluff up to
No,
to
there's no reason to.
mhm.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no. Never
good
once.
on you,
Never
good
ever
on
once.
you. Yeah,
Never
I
once.
question this. I also piercing vaginas. I
Yep.
remember I was doing a vagina and I charge the same price because this is gotta be right. It's got like there's no way. Come on, if I charge less, I'm a fucking lecherous
Oh, you
piece of
can't
shit.
do that. So many people do that. They're like, oh yeah, genitals are this, but Prince Albert's and this or this, but 3 times more. And it's like, so you
Yeah,
charge more to touch a penis because you're an insecure guy. Good job. You look like an idiot.
I'm getting ready to pierce a girl's hood. I was never competent enough to do a clit. It's myself. People always
Yeah,
mistake. You're just like, just do a hood. I can do that.
yeah,
Right.
hood's safer around
That's my
anyway.
level.
Yeah,
So
clips
she's
ahead.
coming to get in. I tell them the price. Back then it was I don't know what it would be now. I was charging 150. It was like 50 due to the piercing, $100 holding fee. And
Right.
and they were like, "Oh my God, what are you talking about? I got mine at $20. That seems crazy." This is what one of her friends say. And I'm like, well, I don't have any problem not doing it. So I mean, please don't take offense to it. It's just for me to keep this, understood. And you wouldn't almost want me to charge less. I kind of explain that the girl decides she wants to get it done. We start doing it. I'm done. Pump, done. Right.
Right.
And her friend's like, wait a second, you're already putting the jewelry in as I'm finishing up. I'm like, yeah, we're done. She's like, it took him 20 minutes to get the dots in the right place.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did it what? So he kept on just wiping them off. He didn't want to use rubbing alcohol, probably did. He just probably said, oh, that one's in the wrong spot. I rub.
Right.
Let
me spend some more time with you with your pants off, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Terrible.
So
There's some terrible people.
Learn a lesson too. If you're going to get your stuff pierced, pay the premium. You're happier when you
that
do.
is not where you bargain shop. You know what I mean?
My wife paid the extra for my vasectomy. She was like, "This you can get it for like 400 over here with these guys, but fuck them because this guy's $200 more. I would trust him."
Yeah, exactly.
No idea if it was better or not. I probably would have been just fine over there.
Right.
But
we'd rather be safe. You know what I mean? You don't compromise. That's not an area of compromise from bargain shopping, like I said.
If somebody is compromising their price, they compromise other parts of their work.
There's always a reason. Exactly. Absolutely. So people don't think like that. Sadly, they're not critical enough with that.
Well, they're gonna be. That's why we got the show.
That's why.
And that's why you're on it, James. Breadth of information. I appreciate it. Can you give us anything that we should know as potential clients beyond, hey, you don't have to tell them it's usually bigger. We know.
Right. What's that?
I wouldn't just that. Anything that you would like your clients to be educated on?
I mean, I think we just established it with the principle of the penis talk is we shouldn't compromise. That's not where you bargain shop is when it's dealing with permanent or semi-permanent marks on your body and anything that's opening your bloodstream. I think that we should do our diligent research, and experience goes a long way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I would
just
say that was the primary concept. Yeah, I guess,
Can we imagine that exactly that if somebody doesn't charge, the going rate even, then you can be pretty sure that they're not doing the same amount of research, and then they don't have the same understanding because of their lack of interest.
Right, exactly. Whatever it may be, wherever they're cutting corners, it doesn't matter. It just means that the corners are being cut, and you should really question that. Like it could easily just be low grade jewelry. They're buying cheap jewelry so they can afford to give you cheap piercings. So then you don't want that in your body. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of variables, but the principle will remain,
How have you seen piercing change throughout? Because I mean, I remember seeing it start out at like 60 to $100 for a ton, and then it went down to like $20 for a ton at its lowest. But 60 used to be the lowest, and I think a lot of it was people were able to get barbells and needles cheaper eventually, but then a lot of people seem to come in and they learned piercing, as a manager or a shop help,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they figured that they could just do, like, they couldn't compete with someone like yourself that was experienced in experience. So they
Right.
competed at price, and they knew
Right.
they could beat that fucking price up. And actually, it happened in Flint that we saw almost all of our good piercers for a large portion of the time because of an uneducated um, populace, I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah.
But everybody buying didn't understand, so they would buy by price, and there was $20, piercings, buy one get
Yeah.
one free $20 piercings,
Yeah. Yeah.
and piercers that were of any quality left Flint, Michigan. They Many of them went.
That happened in a lot of regions. The
Is that what?
competition undercutting, they lower the bar, and then piercers that do this properly, that get quality jewelry that's not cheap, can't afford to pierce people anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like
Until people
that was
become
a good era. I feel like
knowledgeable.
that's
Mhm.
calmed down. I feel like there aren't as many of those, like, public knowledge. That's what's good. There's a lot more public knowledge out there, so more
Yeah.
of the general public is becoming aware of this. There was a good 10-year window or longer where that was a major issue all over, and I feel like the past handful of years it's starting to subside a little because, again, there's more public light brought on the quality of what you're doing to your body, and whether it's the jewelry or the person, and so on and so forth. So they know to have a little bit more discrimination, like, but prices went back up again, for any quality
Mm.
one. So like in LA, I mean, tongue's probably $100, you know what I mean, plus jewelry or something like that, and it's not
Right.
much less than that here. um Not that many people get tongues pierced anymore, but
Was
like
it
there's
was it
other
that
things.
competition? If I remember it around what, 2000, 2001, maybe even earlier than that. Actually, I
Yeah.
guess I remember it around like 1998 and 96. Was that what kind of helped inspire you to get out of Michigan too and see more of the world? Or did you have a?
That was becoming a slight issue at the time for me, but it's also just kind of coincided. Luckily for me, that's when I branched out and started to get into more body modification and doing conventions. And I'm an active person and like to integrate and do things, and I'm a social person and everything. So, I mean, I just happened to luckily take my work elsewhere right around the time when that was happening. Actually, it wasn't necessarily planned like that, but it sure worked out in my favor. So I was touring, doing shows and things like that. So the basic piercing prices at the studio weren't hurting me that bad because I was doing more stuff elsewhere. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then and then once the shows blew up and I was started to teach, and then that changed everything. You know what I mean? And so luckily I've been able to keep my standards high wherever I go because I have, whatever said reputation. And so when I go somewhere, I
Right.
can always, whenever I've moved, I luckily, kind of get to cherry pick whatever best shop I can get into, you know what I mean, and stuff. So that's been beneficial big time for me. So I'm picky about where I go, like when I went to Cambridge, that zone there, it's high money and high standards. That's where the best, probably 3 to 5 studios of all of Boston area were at. And so I reduced it to those, and
And now
um,
you've already got your own place, right? Adorn.
yeah, yeah. Well, I work at a regular studio here, actually, in Salisbury, Mass, which is where I live. It's right on. I live about a mile off the ocean. So I'm just
How's
like
the
north.
steak out there?
Everything is amazing here. If you
Okay.
want good lobster, seafood, anything like that is amazing. The food here is
Oh
absolutely
shit!
loaded.
It's also Peter Gabriel Salisbury Hill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah,
It
no, I
just
like it
dawned
a
on
lot.
me that you said Salisbury steak, and I actually was late to that party. So good job, by the way.
Oh,
I didn't pick up
sorry,
on that.
buddy.
I missed that one. That went right past me. Good job. I didn't want to not give that credit.
Oh, you're fine. It's
But
worse now, almost. I'd
yeah,
rather it kind of got under. Um,
better. Thanks for reminding everyone to miss that, James.
yeah, because now everybody's, oh, dad jokes. Great, Kyle.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
what we got.
Good.
I'm a grandpa now, so I get to do grandpa
You're a
jokes. Actually,
grandpa. Wow.
for reals. Yeah, yeah.
Congrats. That's crazy.
I'm
I
gonna do
still,
a ridge cap today, and then we'll be hanging out with my granddaughter, with any luck,
that's
later.
awesome. I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah,
It's been fun.
I have pets. That's as far as I made it. I didn't have any
So,
kids.
what do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you kidding
Well,
up? Are you settling down, or is that not
yeah, I'm
for you?
settling here. I think it seems to be so far. I'm more settled here than I have been a lot of places. Like I said, I've quite a nomad. I've lived in 11 states and 30 something cities in my life. So that's a whole lot of places to live. But it's tiring and it's time to calm down, also why I was leaving LA. But that's not a place to stay at long term, at least not for me. But yeah, so I work at a studio here in Salisbury, which is insanely busy. It's the busiest shop I've worked at aside from Los Angeles in my whole career, which is crazy because Salisbury is not a big place. It's a smaller town and it's quiet, and which is wonderful. But
I've literally never heard of it.
Right, exactly. I didn't either until I moved here. And it's wonderful though, because we've got like a 30-40 mile radius of all these smaller communities that we have no competition. So we just have a range of people, and it's been there for 28 years or something. So it has a great reputation. But yeah, so I live in a quieter space. I work 3 miles from my house, and then I have a private studio for the body modification, which I'm trying to grow that in a slightly different direction, slightly more spiritually involved. I've been doing a lot of different work out here. I like host men's support groups every month for a safe space for men to
men's support group. Sounds like a bunch of ladies showing up to that.
Right. But
I don't think a man can show up to a men's support group. I'm pretty sure you lose your card as soon as you go through the door. They got a bongo for us to beat on. Come on. No, I'm sorry, man.
It's all right. But yeah, they're not far off. It's some hippie shit, but that's kind of the direction I'm at right now. And
is that help? So what is the focus on a men's support group?
It's literally just a safe space for men to show vulnerability, because like I was saying earlier, that's actually where our strength lies. And so that
way they don't have to worry about showing any of it when they're out in society or public. That makes sense.
They don't have outlets. It's healthy. It's a healthy outlet. You know what I mean? A lot of men don't have that. There's a lot of pressure on men in society due to some toxic masculine traits. We've all been trained and taught and forced and bred to like not feel emotion, to not express emotion or weakness. And and it's okay to do that. Don't be weak, but I mean, you have weak moments, and it's okay to allow that. And so like it's a safe space basically. But and I work with I've been working with plant medicine too. So I've been doing like herbalism, but like actual plant medicine, like psychedelic plant medicines as well.
Okay.
I actually have been a guide for a psilocybin ceremony facility, nonprofit organization out here. And it's legal because it's within our religious rights to do that. So
what religion?
Well, I mean, it's really.
Oh, damn it. It's killing me. It's always on the good stuff too, ain't it? It's right when we get to the best shit. I'll remember my question. I don't know what it is. Oh yeah. Okay. I might have lost you, brother. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. What religion? I'm sorry.
It's not a set religion. It doesn't have to be a denoted denomination that we all would know. What it is the personal religious right to observe that this is more of like a healing sacrament. Because it really is. I mean, I'm sure you're aware enough of the huge attention drawn to psilocybin in the medical field for depression and stuff like that. And so that's what we're doing. We're hosting ceremonies at the sanctuary that help people through traumas and things like that through psilocybin and stuff. And so I'm one of the primary guides through ceremony for that.
What about ayahuasca and DMT?
Yep, okay. All of that. They're all relative. I have friends that do ayahuasca churches too and stuff.
You don't yourself?
We don't offer it, but I've done it. Yeah, I've definitely sat with it many times. But
okay, I got some DMT at home that I'm really scared to do. That's the whole reason I'm questioning you on this. What the fuck should I be prepared for? Should I just leave it alone? Which I'm not gonna. Just by the way, I'm gonna end up doing it. But
I think. I mean, have you had mushrooms before?
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine a very pureed version of something like that. It's different. Like the different plant medicines, they do have different effects, but they're all generally taking you to a similar realm, and state of mind and being. Like whether it's LSD or ayahuasca or, Bufo, San Pedro. There's a ton of them. And
Oh, I didn't even know. I've only known of those few.
yeah, there's a ton. And what DMT is a really condensed form. It lasts like 10, 15 minutes. But
Okay.
like you lose concept of time. To you, it could have been 1,000 years. Um, Complete dissociation, pretty much, of of yourself. You dissolve your ego, which is a healthy thing for a lot of us, actually. To lose
Will I
that.
be running in the streets nude?
You will not. You will be laying. You will hit it. You will smoke. I would say you really want to get 3 hits. It's hard. Once you get the second hit, you start to fizzle out of existence a little bit. But really go for the third hit if you want to make it worth your time.
Oh,
So
okay. Because that's when you see the tongue of the turtle or something.
You'll see some things for sure.
Okay.
It'll be a geometric fractal light show, but it'll be way more than that. That'll be your visuals, maybe. There's a lot of different realms with DMT, though. With that,
Uh-huh. You went out again, brother, for on our end. I'll let you know when we can hear you again. Damn. I should tie this up, but this is fucking, it's really good. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. It's good. It feels good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
Okay,
dude. I should probably wrap this up because of technical difficulties and all. But every time I've even wanted to come close, giving you your day back to you.
Yeah,
this is good, dude. We're learning here.
Good.
And maybe even my wife is getting less scared of me doing DMT because
you'll only be out of commission for 10 or 15 minutes, buddy. You're just gonna lay on the couch. That's all you're doing. You're not getting up or moving. So don't worry about that. You won't be naked in the streets. Candy doesn't have to worry about that either.
Right on.
Yeah.
You find that it helps heal people then from what?
I have watched more monumental healing from people with this than anything in my entire life, hands down. It's insane. People like with addiction issues say, I've had friends that are like pill popping, cigarette smoking, alcohol drinking. Well, we're not friends, there's people that come find us or whatever, but they're just loaded up with all these bad habits and vices that control their life, and like they can leave one ceremony and never feel the urge to pick up a cigarette or a drink again because they have peace in themselves.
See, I've heard that with DMT, but also with with a guided psilocybin, it must be a bit different.
It's very helpful. A guide makes all the difference in the world. I wouldn't even bother doing it without one now myself, even though I'm very seasoned with it I've been dabbling in hallucinogenics since high school.
But you still do it with someone to help guide you through.
Now I do. Now that I know the difference, it's insane. Yeah, just someone sitting there, like you need something to bounce something off of, and sometimes you need to be wrangled. You lose your way sometimes, and you can navigate the space. And people do like internal trauma healing. Like they'll find wounds within them that they've suppressed their whole life from, like, say, maybe child abuse or something like that, from a parent or something, and they've assessed it and they found peace with it. They can almost forgive the person afterwards, even, like crazy monumental things. Like, the list goes on, but
now when the guide is there with you, is he also using or
usually, like, what we do is we have not to the extent like when I'm guiding psilocybin, I'll take a small micro dose, so where I'm in the energetic space of it, but I'm still completely control. I could go drive a car and I'd be fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm still.
We're not advocating operating heavy machinery.
I didn't advise it, but I'm capable of. So like you're in the general space with them now, so I'm a little bit more in tune with them. So like small amounts, like with ayahuasca.
But they're going big balls to the wall, kind of. That's usually going to be 1 to 3 hours. Am I wrong?
But I go usually about 3 to 5 hours, actually. Yeah.
Right on. That's got to get into some money to do it properly, then too. You have to be compensated.
A solo ceremony. Because we have like a little VIP set up for a ceremony, and they have 2 guides there. Well, basically 1 guide and 1 assistant, and that's like $1,200.
Okay.
Then we can do some group ones but then you're sharing. That's interesting because then you have like a handful of people, and sometimes one person's
sucks up all the attention in the
heavily
room.
affecting someone else's. Yeah, exactly. So that's a little bumpy sometimes. But
Like, yeah, I
the guy
wanted to go
lost the
get my
ceremony.
smoking figured out, and little fucking I was raped when I was a kid starts crying. Everybody's helping her. I'm like, hey, what about my nicotine? Oh, we lost you again. I love it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody will suck up the attention, the moments in the room, right?
That happens. So like we just actually just recently decided to curb the groups and start doing more solo things because it's just too much. And then
Right.
it's not fair for the person that came and spent money to sit there when they were interrupted by someone else's. You know, because some people get loud, they get vocal, they crying, and whatever and
Right.
stuff, and so it gets tough.
No,
But
now
my new-
at 1,200, that might seem even expensive to somebody, but now as I really, to me, because I always got the broke brain, but
right,
when I really put it through it, if we're talking about quitting cigarette smoking, even that's huge.
yeah, that's huge. It's
Like
monumental.
and the amount of money that people spend on quitting every year alone,
Yeah, and it,
mhm. or to
yeah,
get over past trauma, fuck that shit holds you back.
therapists and meds for years of your life. You know what I mean? Yeah, when you can have a healthy experience, no new addictions, because half the meds they give you, you're just creating other problems and dumbing yourself down and creating new vices. So it's not really helping you. It's
Mhm.
just putting band-aids on things so you don't deal with it.
Now, your life pretty much leads you to this understanding, but also I'm curious what there has to be more education for you then into doing this too, that you're
Yeah,
following.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what's been a lot of my last few years out here has been that. 'Cause, I mean, piercing, I have that down. It turns out.
Yeah.
So at my side time, I've been delving into that more, and like I'm at my shop, like 3 4 days a week. I help ceremonies a handful of times a month, and then now I have my private studio, and the private studio is actually not just body mods. It's more of like I'm still creating its thorough concept, but it's like a healing body arts in a manner. Now, I still will have people come in and just get their tongue split and stuff, of course, but there are some people that the pain is actually therapeutic in a manner, and so we're utilizing it
Okay.
almost. So, if I could take a hybrid, minus using the psychedelics, but a hybrid of the guiding ceremony and the
Mm-hmm.
enlightenment that it brings people, along
And
with the
the piercing.
the modification process or scarification, say, like we will create a design that's a symbol of a forever reminder that you've etched in and earned it and felt it,
Mm-hmm.
to like find you to heal over said trauma or issue and things like that, like a symbol, whatever it might be. And then the process of earning it, it's like a rite of passage, so that's really what Temple Adorn's more geared towards. I mean, it's still a body modification facility, but it's got a healing
Aspect to it. What it doesn't have is good Wi-Fi. I lost you again, James. I think it's right at the best point, though. I think that's really good time to end it, to be honest. We
sounds
got
good.
body adorned in there. I know
Yeah.
where you're going with it. I can't
You
wait
get
to
it.
come out and do some mushrooms. I'm serious. I
Yes,
do. No,
please,
I
brother.
really do. And
Yeah.
and I know the benefits of it. I've seen it, and that's even why I've been scared to do the DMT. Is I'm scared to give up. I think I'm pretty awesome the way I am now with all my vices, and I'm like, what if I end up like not drinking coffee tomorrow?
Right.
It's what
And
a
there is
foolish.
a fear involved with that. Those are our things. Those are our little
Mhm.
moments that get us through the day. But then what you do is you free yourself up to have so much more for yourself instead of relying on something else to help you through your day. So it is beneficial, but it's frightening to let go. We're very
Yeah.
attached to our things.
Oh, that coffee tastes so good.
Right? You're like, I don't want to not taste it. I'm not drinking
You know,
decaf.
and I've already done the bargaining with it
Right.
where I add a lot of chicory root, which is healthy.
Yeah. Oh, it's super healthy.
And takes down the amount of caffeine. But
Yeah.
I still hit my 400 milligrams or whatever it is every day. I know I hit that and then a little more,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and as stupid as that sounds, I guess, but really that is a concern that I've had
I don't
with
think from one DMT experience you'll stop that. Like if you really want to have that, like that's not a bad vice to have. That's not a terrible thing.
right,
You know, I mean it
right.
could be worse. You know, you're fine there.
But
I
how about
think
hating my mother and all of Christianity? That probably
um
could go away, huh?
it, mm, yeah, I mean you'll hate him still, but it won't be as severe. You still won't like any of them, but you'll be understanding to their point more.
Yourself, you've probably dealt with Christianity quite a bit, or some
Oh,
amounts of it,
oh,
because of
absolutely.
your your fringe, uh, not really just work, but almost existence, because of the people that your work gets you in close relation with, is going to be the antithesis in a lot of times to Christian
Yeah.
desire
Oh,
to
I have
limit
had
people's freedom. I don't know what the fuck their problem
I've
is, but
had
god damn it,
protest. We lose me
protest
again?
you. No,
Yeah,
I got you.
protest a show I put on in North Carolina.
Really? What, they
Yeah.
just show up to say Jesus
Yeah,
doesn't
they had
like
some
this?
signs. There's about 15 of them, you know what I mean? They
Do
heard we
they
were
not
doing
understand Jesus was into piercing?
right? Like, hey, I should have done because I have a Christ post suspension I do where I hook my arms and my arms are hung out like a
Uh-huh.
crucifixion. I should have done that one for him.
So they were all pissed off though that you were doing these things to the body that
Yeah. They were trying to get people to not come to the show and guide them and give them pamphlets for Jesus and not
I love it.
condone self-harm and all this other crap and deviance and things like that, you know. So yeah,
Right.
that was
It might all be their course until one day
yeah.
these same deviants will one day be passing out flyers for Jesus in the front, being like, I used to do it, and
Yeah,
now I don't
right.
have my first finger and I miss it. I can no longer pick my nose.
It's bullshit. So I found Jesus. I still don't have a finger though, but fuck.
Yeah, but take this pamphlet from me, and Jesus Christ can save you. Yeah, I find Christians really like to limit freedom, and even the freedom to sin, which I don't understand at some points. And then freedom, like at some point, people will say, we're being cursed. Christians will say, like Katrina happened for New Orleans, so
Right.
long ago, and that was, some Christians were coming out saying that was a judgment from God.
Right.
And,
Right.
and you're like, what a fucking shitty. You are, first off, God's a dick. And second off, your God's a dick. I more should say, if that's
Yeah,
the way he
you
does
God,
it.
you man.
Yeah. And let's remember that he did promise the last time he did that he didn't like that he did that. And I know God doesn't make mistakes, but he did kind of say he would never flood the world again. So kind of fuck him twice on that one, if
Right.
it's
Right.
him.
Right.
And
Yeah.
also, though, the idea that so much sin could exist that then other people that might even be righteous could be harmed
Right.
from the bad. So those righteous, they have to go out and make sure that you can't drink alcohol. Make
Yeah.
sure that you can't pierce yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure that you can't live the life that you feel you want to live as a fingerless person or a penisless dude. I don't know what. I more mean to say the transgender issue right now is appalling to me. The way Christians are treating it, and the way many normal people are allowing themselves to be swayed because of their own fears of pissing in a bathroom.
Yes.
It's disgusting. Listen, people have the right to pee, no matter how crazy you imagine them to be. Ooh, that rhymes, so it must be true.
That was good. That was good.
But and I feel I'm in tattoo studios, which are usually kind of safe havens for fringe thought,
Right.
And so many of my peers are arguing with me that they don't feel comfortable with their daughters peeing in a bathroom with a guy dressed in a dress. And certainly in that vernacular, it sounds bad.
Yes, it does.
And when you put it in the context of you don't want your daughter peeing in a bathroom with a woman that was born a biological man, it sounds a little bit better. Or you don't want him peeing with a man that identifies as a woman and is transitioning.
Right.
But moreover, all this is about passing. Like if that woman looks enough like a woman to you, you're good, which is weird
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. It
Like
just, yeah, you have to
you're
be
not basing it on their
convinced.
behaviors. There's
Right.
no sign that this is a behavior that you have to be concerned about. You've
Right.
made up this fear in your fucking broken little brain. I'm sorry, I'm being rude now, but you've made up this fear that your daughter will somehow be harmed by this person because but if they pass your detection of your own visibility, like if that person looks enough like a female, then
Right.
you have no problem with it.
Right.
And
Just
I don't
how does someone not see the gigantic flaw in that design? You know?
I don't know, and I keep on hearing again and again because of their fears of it. Like I've tried to get them to understand that the fear of that then means that their son will be pissing in a urinal, and in
Right.
walks some girl, and she pulls up her dress and pulls out a great big hog and starts pissing and making him feel like he doesn't have a big enough dick because this woman has a bigger one than him, and his whole world's fucked up. So, moreover, I really just don't want to walk around and poop. I don't like smelling it when I'm at a restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
Not
what do
okay.
you guys, everybody has the right to pee and poop. You are no better. Well, like we've done this before with bathrooms, you sick fucks. We have done this before with bathrooms where they were okay. And you use the same fears of the bathroom. It was just based on the color of someone's skin, you sick fuck.
Exactly. It's so
Nothing's changed. This
nothing.
is a rights issue, and you fucking weirdos need to calm down with your space in your brains where your perversions go off to where you think that things are occurring, that because there are laws that protect your children and yourself inside of bathrooms. They are the same laws. They don't need, like, if you try to molest somebody in a bathroom, you will get the stiffest penalty of the law. You don't
Yeah.
need to throw on that it was that you were dressed the wrong way for this person's. I'm sorry. That's my
Yeah.
long diatribe.
No, it's okay. Those are all valid statements, my friend. So,
I imagine it's a safe space to express this because of the people that you've seen in so many different scenarios. So let's imagine that you've been to these fetish clubs and you see people that are fetishized. They're
yeah.
not necessary, or people would judge them at that moment pretty harshly from
Yeah.
their puritanical standpoint sometimes. However,
Yeah.
those people go back into society, don't harm other people. They
No.
act like normal people, and you wouldn't even fucking know that they exist. And some of them
No.
are the same ones making this judgment on them. You know,
Right.
the one that they
Right.
got like, they vote against gay rights and then they have a gay Twitter account or something.
Yeah,
Was it
right.
there's a Republican guy that votes against gay rights, and he commented to a guy something like, "You could make everyday unicorns and rainbows," to a picture of this guy's butt,
Right.
like real stuff. Like
Like,
a lot
come
of
on.
times, even I think the people that push that, like, oh, that's terrible. The reason they see that as terrible is because it exists in them in such a strong amount that they've built up strongholds so that they can feel normal, but they break. And they J. Edgar Hoover that shit up in a fucking dress, and they go dance and they give a drag show to all their fucking sorority sisters, brothers, whatever. Like it. So get off it. If careful, I don't know. All right, let me ask you on it. Your opinion of people from seeing these fringes, has it diminished and it made you think that the world is a degraded whole, or
No,
have
I
you
find
found
it very versatile, actually. I
okay.
don't feel that really. I think that I mean, I will say I observed, some of it is actual, those are outlets for some deeper seated issues, you know what I'm saying? But
Need a
there,
guided psilocybin trip and you'll get that fixed?
yeah, we'll tie you right up. Here's a couple grams of mushrooms and let's fix you up.
Yeah,
Um,
but overall,
yeah.
humanity's still doing good.
Well, that's that's a that's a heavy statement, really. I mean, I can't vouch for that entirely. I'm pretty
Well,
disappointed in it quite
I'm
often,
going
but
off of
I mean,
your fringe of these. You stayed in these circles. You weren't so appalled. I can
yeah,
imagine. You
no,
don't
no.
talk about
Those were,
them in
I
bad
mean,
regard.
in the fringe circles. I mean, if you want to come to a human's character, I met some
Mm-hmm.
of the most beautifully wonderful, harmless, understanding, open-minded individuals in that fringe realm. I mean, really. There were a lot of times it's the people that were ostracized from society or felt singled out or left out or, socially awkward or whatever the reasons were and stuff like that. And so they've all been humbled by the hardships and hard judgments of the structure of the society and the silly paradigm that it is. But so like, I mean, really in that realm, I mean, yeah, we can say that they had some habits and some sexual deviance, but
They were beautiful
still were a
people.
better person than than some of your local ministers were. You know what I mean?
I do. I just get done watching that Hillsong thing. I don't know. You've seen the Secrets of Hillsong.
Mm-mm.
And it really, I mean, just it's a pretty standard almost story, right? Of just like one group of people hating something really bad, only to find out that it exists in large amounts inside of their organization. Like
Right.
the Catholic Church, I was saying that the Satanists were trying to rape your kids, and then we find out they were just pissed off about the possibility of competition.
Right.
They were like, no, we are raping your kids. We do not want them getting raped by the Satanists. That makes them impure. No. I wouldn't rape a child after he was raped by a Satanist.
Right. That's dirty.
Can you imagine? I need him pure. Like maybe I'll take a second hand after the Pope or Archbishop Diocese. I'm sorry to talk that way, people, but fuck religion in its weird ass hierarchical of that creates that space for it. And I guess you've given me what I wanted. That you're the piece that I needed to hear is that oftentimes those making the judgments are the dirty of society. And that those that might have felt relegated to the shadows, you actually get to experience those people and find them to be good humans, worthwhile people, who are not trying to harm others.
Trust many.
Losing you.
With my children, hypothetically, if I had any, you know what I'm saying? Before I would, some of these rule makers and these twisted people trying to, put boundaries and restrictions and judgments and on everything that we do, as if they're in any sort of higher position to do that above me, as if they're any closer to
where they're. Well, those that think that they stand for freedom, as long as that freedom is inside of their ideas. Isn't that even a Metallica song?
Right. Their parameters, yeah.
Freedom with our exceptions, or James, thank you so much. But I'm waxing too philosophical to keep going on with this. Okay, I know that I'm ruining things when I start talking this much. Thanks for being a part of this, man. I look forward to catching up with you, and I really do. I would like to do some mushrooms with you, brother. I would like to figure that out. So the next time I see you, I'm going to come with some cheddar and some thyme. We'll
That'd
see if
be
we
fantastic.
can't fix that little child inside
here, brother. I could put you up if you want to do some work. I mean, you can always do guest spot if you want at the studio. Either one.
How's this?
Or if you just want to hang out and not work, we can do that too.
That's always fun.
You can go visit Joe. He lives about an hour away.
Yes.
Yes, brother. I'd love to have you here, and thank you for having me on this. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful to chat with you. The most I've talked to you in some years.
Yeah. I feel like I get to know you a lot more, especially, man, we haven't, was it been like 10 years, I think, since we had seen each other last.
Both of us have done a lot since I really hung out with you. I mean,
that gets me to Candy's favorite part of the show, actually.
Yeah.
Ask me a question. You got any questions for me?
For you?
Put me on the hot seat. Yeah.
Ooh. I wasn't prepared for that. Let's think.
Well, that brings me to the other part. We're going to start getting people prepared. We're going to be like, hey, there's a segment.
Right. Yeah, there's a chunk where you got to ask me something too. Well, I mean, what's your intention with the podcasts, I guess? What's your goal with you doing these? I mean, what's your dynamic?
Well, this podcast really helps me show that, to be honest. You've done a great job. My goal with the podcast is to learn more about the world, to see other people's viewpoints. And then to me, this is kind of like child's pose for me. If this a restorative pose, that's why I know it's time to end it when I started getting so full, because I'm starting to talk about my ideas of, and I know that they're a mirror board of yours, or that they're very similar.
Yeah.
But
We have a lot.
that's where I want to. I often have people on here that don't see eye to eye with me, and it's been making me feel a little more at peace with other people not seeing that way. So my intention is to keep ironing myself out and to allow people a window into what I'm learning about and what I'm surrounded by, as well as the life that I have, which, like yours, has been blessed. I started to look around and say, wow, fucking, I know a dude who, I know you didn't. Here's Miley Cyrus's vag. But I want to be able to say that.
If you were to ever get it pierced, it would have been me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you follow me. Yeah, like I know so many amazing people. Captain and Maybell are going on Francis Ford Coppola's next movie.
Oh wow!
Right, like I've got a friend that was in The Matrix. I've got a friend that was in Stranger Things. And all these. They're little things, right? But fuck, one day we're just hanging out and I meet Bobby Brown. Who does that happen to?
Nice.
Like, let me tell you a story about meeting Bobby Brown actually for a second, I guess, because it's fun. I'm with the Enigma and I'm telling him that Bobby Brown is in the bar. Now, originally I always play the game, spot the celebrity, like Jay Leno used to have, and I just make up. Well, this guy walked in looking like Bobby Brown, but of course it wasn't, right? So I just said, hey, everybody, look, it's Bobby Brown. And thought nothing of it. And everybody's like, Kyle, you're always an idiot. Who cares? And they move on. Moments later, we recognize that this is fucking Bobby Brown. Stelios is over there chatting him up like for 20 minutes. Candy's like, look, that guy you said looked like Bobby Brown. Stelios is talking to him at the bar. I look and I say, you know why? That's fucking Bobby Brown.
That's actually motherfucking Bobby Brown.
It's motherfucking Bobby Brown. So I'm going to go tell the Enigma about it. And the Enigma's tattooed head to toe with puzzle pieces. His eyes are blacked out. Scars all over his face.
Awesome. I had him in my house for Thanksgiving in LA, actually. Yeah, he's good people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
We're good friends. Yeah, we're good friends.
Small world, too.
Yeah.
Well, Enigma, I go to him and I'm like telling him, he's kind of in and out of touch with the world, right? So I go and I like, dude, Bobby Brown's here. And he's like, Bobby who? I don't know no Bobby Brown. I'm like, dude, fucking I don't know. Married to Whitney Houston. He's like, I barely even know her. I've heard the name, but I'm like, fuck, dude, my prerogative, do what I want to do, man. And he's like, damn, that jam, dude. Oh my God, that was my jam. Let me think of this. And he starts trying to think the lyrics. As he is thinking of the lyrics, Bobby Brown is getting ready to leave the bar, but he's going to have to go talk to the most, weird looking motherfucker in there. Right. So he's beelining it for the puzzle face, head to toe, blue face, scars out. Oh, yeah. He's heading over there and he's like, hey, what's up? When he's walking up to him, he sees, he sees the Enigma trying to remember the lyrics and the bass line of his song that he wrote, right? So he's like, hey man, I gotta say hi. I'm about to get out of here, but I gotta say what up to the most unique motherfucker in here. What is it? Now the Enigma's got a whole spiel that he goes into too, right?
Right.
He's like, well, actually, the puzzle pieces are on the inside because the tattoo is for me. You only see the backside, blah, blah. And he's going on about his different things, and he wants to be done though, because he wants to get back to the conversation with me where he can try and remember the lyrics to Bobby Brown's song.
That's more important than talking to Bobby Brown. Yeah.
He turns back and he's like, yeah, dude, that was my jam. It was like, I can do what I want to do. He gets the bass line and then Bobby cuts in and he says, yeah, man, when I was like 9 years old, they bought me a Casio keyboard and that was the only bass line I could make was man. So I go to making a song, I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do. Enigma kind of hears it wrong and he thinks that this guy is offering too much personal information about it and he can play the same beat that he's doing or something. And so he turns back to him though, polite, and gives him his attention again. And he says, yeah, so what are you in town for? And he's like, oh yeah, we doing a little thing here. Got the band going, and he's like, oh really? You're in a band? And he's like, yeah, I'm in a band, man. And he's like, where were you playing? And he mentions like the Coliseum or something. He's like, whoa, big venue. What's the name of your band? I couldn't help it. I'm just like, the name of his band is Bobby Brown's Backup Singers. Anyways, that kind of amazing shit I want to be able to share with the world, because we lead blessed lives, that many people do not get to escape their 9 to 5s, their angers at their bosses on a daily basis. And somehow this freedom that we've experienced from this, it's cathartic for some people, I think,
Yeah, absolutely. That's valid.
It's been so healthy for me.
I love that
Okay.
I mean, see, and that in itself, the fact that you said meeting people that oppose your views even helps iron you out. Like, you're consciously doing this, even if some of it doesn't flow in your comfort zone. It's still you're using it as an avenue for personal healing and development and growth, and sharing it with the world, though, in an interesting light. And
I guess I should share the psilocybin trip I do too, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We'll document. We'll just do that live. We'll do a live one. You can tell everyone about it while you're in it.
Sounds scary, man. I always know that, like, when my brain, when I get old and my brain really starts to go, I'm getting the dementia, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know what it was, but when I was a baby, a little toddler, adolescent, up to a kid, man, I used to pull my wang out all the time for any given. It wasn't like a lot of people do that when they become teens and stuff.
Yeah.
Not then. For some reason, just baby on up to, like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Kyle's dick was always out. And I got this fear. So I don't think I could do the psilocybin trip, because anywhere I go in my mind, I'm always like, Kyle, I'm going to pull my dick out. Yeah. I just know when I get to be dementia ridden, I can already hear it. Oh, Mr. Dunbar, put your penis back in again.
Put it away. Put it away.
Walking down the hallway with your penis out. Yeah, don't sound good. Old wrinkly balls. Can't tell them apart from your fucking wang.
Right. Just big wad of skin hanging and flapping on the wind. It's just a mud flap after a while, right?
Yeah, my balls are looking more like bubble gum every day as it is. It's been sitting in the hot sun on the bottom of a bench, with two golf balls inside of it. Like, that can only last so long, or they're gonna bust out of there. Anyway,
one rolls out of your pant leg one day, Yeah, careful.
Yeah. What is that? Johnny Knoxville style.
Right. Oh, that's old Lefty. Hold on, pick him up.
Did you get to meet any of those kids?
I did not, actually, which is odd. It seems like that would have been a circle I would have crossed paths with, but
you would think. Yeah, but you're up here with all these CEOs and stuff from Disney.
Yeah, I did. I met so many different people. The flavors are, the list is too long. But yeah, no, somehow I missed that alignment. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah.
Well, there's always time.
Yeah.
We're long.
Oh yeah.
Love you, brother. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, come back anytime you have anything that you might want to use this platform for. Please, give me an excuse to have you on again.
I'd love to have. I always have stuff to say. You take care, Kyle. Be well, brother, and I'll see you soon enough. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.